I guess the excitement of Trikafta starting to settle has been trying to navigate what my purpose is now. Because my purpose was always just happiness. What does long-term happiness look like? And how do I get that? And how do I make those adjustments? And am I doing it right? Because it's not just, oh, we'll do that because it looks fun. It's like, we'll do that, but what are the repercussions and what is the flow and effect for the next few years? It's been really interesting, and to grieve like a sense of your identity as well. It's pretty complex when your kind of life outcomes change so drastically.
It's a drug which could add decades to the lives of Aussies living with cystic fibrosis. One Married at First Sight star says it's changed her life, but it comes with a hefty price tag, and some families are missing out.
My lung function was 60% the day I started, and the last lung function test I did was 90.
It's the closest thing to a cure for people living with cystic fibrosis. With a renewed outlook on life and love, this season Lyndall got married at first sight.
Did you ever imagine, less than a year ago, that you'd be able to have this experience?
I got on a plane and I got to see new places and I got to be around new people, and I threw myself into everything.
When I was 14 and I found out what the life expectancy was at the time, that it was 32. It just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And I remember my 16th birthday was one of the worst days because it felt like it was the halfway point. I was so angry that for some reason in life you don't remember the first 5 or 6 years. So it was like, I haven't even had 10 years. And it felt very unfair, and I didn't know anyone else with anything like CF, let alone CF. So it felt very lonely. It made me swear off a lot of things, like a lot of long-term things, a lot of long-term ideas. And that's a big thing for a teenager who's already got enough going on with being a teenager. And the story that I was told is you're really, really healthy, but there will come a point in your life where you will start to decline. What we're doing is all preventative for that. So I think I always knew that I was probably going to make it past the 32-year mark, but you just never know by how much. And as well, you don't know what your ability is going to be. So you might way surpass 32, but you might not be able to live your life the way you are today, from 32 onwards, or like any age onwards. So it was just one of those things where you've just got to do what you can now and bloody enjoy it, because you just never know when something's going to change.
I like to think that while CF has given me most of my greatest challenges, it's also given me my favourite traits: resilience, hope and courage. These traits have landed me in some of the most ridiculous and incredible situations, and most of the time I simply can't believe that my life is real. I was born with 2 Delta F508 genes to 2 incredibly loving parents. I've been to hospital countless times, been on IV antibiotics, had steroids, vitamins, physio treatments, inhalers, finger pricks, scans, gnarly coughs, pokes and prods almost all my life. And I'm one of the lucky ones.
Grade 11, I went into clinic and they found a new infection. And then they were like, right, you're going into hospital. We're going to put you on all these antibiotics. I was allergic to the antibiotics, so we had to change them. And then it didn't eradicate the infection, but they didn't know which strain of the infection it was. One of them was really deadly and one of them was going to be fine. And all my hair fell out, and it was just like the worst grade 11 experience you can imagine as like a 16-year-old. Your hair's falling out, your hormones are all over the place. You're trying to like comprehend the existence of boys and trying to exist and do your studies and choose what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I just got to the point where my hair fell out. I was like, I'm done. I'm not coming back in a hospital. I'm sick of this. I'm on steroids. I've got all these different infections now because my immune system's in the trash. Like, I just had to say no. I'd rather take a drop in lung function than keep doing this to myself. And I didn't touch a hospital for 3 years. I didn't even go to clinic.
My younger self, I don't think you could have told me what to do as a teenager ever. I was very headstrong. I think my advice would absolutely be reach out to people online about having CF. That was the biggest thing that changed everything for me. It normalised so much and made it feel so much less weighted. Getting to hear everyone's stories, getting to talk normally about how many tablets you take and the terrible farts and all these things that you can't just talk to with your friends normally.
My life has changed massively because I started taking Trikafta. Before that, I was always trying to just do what made me happy and take it day by day and just like go with the flow with a lot of things. Whereas now it's like, I don't spend so much time doing treatments. I've got more time in my day. Things are easier to do. All these new triumphs of things that you never thought that you'd have again, like lung function, not having to do all these treatments all of the time, not having to be perfect and disciplined. It's been a massive adjustment. Like some of the lowest points of that have been the readjustment in what my life is going to look like. Like accepting that I can want to have children and I can want to have a long career. Even the prospect of buying a house and things like that before, where I was like, I don't need to buy a house. I'm not going to need to have a family. I don't need to have all these things. I'm just going to have a happy life. And it's like, now we can have a happy life that includes all of those things. And it's like having to do a bit more forward planning. I feel like I'm having that weird existential crisis that people have at the end of high school or at the end of uni, where they actually have to start choosing what they want for their life to set themselves up for 10 years' time. That I never had. So I'm having all of that at 28, having to make all those decisions at a point where everyone else around you is kind of starting to settle into them is can be pretty overwhelming. As heartbreaking as it can be, got this like mortality put in front of my face, but that's meant that now I get more out of life and for longer. It's not just because I don't have enough time. It's like now you get all of that and more time. My daily routine now is I have my Trikafta, I take my Creon, and that's it. Like unless I have a cold or something, like I'm entirely well and I don't need to touch any of my other treatments. I play sport and walk and do all those things as well. So yeah, because you couldn't pay me to run for the bus to go to something really important that I was excited about. I used to be an accountant. I'm not super interested in doing that anymore. When I was in high school and I chose to do accounting, it was because it was something I was naturally quite good at. I didn't have to try too hard to get good grades. It's a secure job. I could work from home or work part-time if I ever needed to. It was just the smart choice. I think my life's just changed a little bit now. I want a little bit more out of something that I'm going to be spending most of my week doing. At the moment, I work for myself. I am riding a reality TV wave of content creation and influencing. Well, I try to anyway. Generally, my Instagram's just a scrapbook of my life. I don't think I'm a slave to a certain aesthetic. I'm a very visual person and I like putting things together the way that they look cool and different and fun. I'm not necessarily like a big designer girl. I don't think that you need to have heaps of money in order to participate in fashion and style. And it's a way of expressing yourself and it's a way of connecting to people and representing yourself and painting a picture. I just think, why not? Why wouldn't you want to dress up and be schnazzy and things? But I generally just wear what feels good. I'm a big fan of putting things together and experimenting on different looks. When I was an accountant, I was always all the other boring accountants are sitting there like, wow, that's an outfit, you know? And I feel like if they're a little bit put off, I've done something right. I'm very excited to be doing Fashion Week. It was like one of my biggest things that like, when I went and did maths, I was like, okay, just my one like bucket list item is to go to Fashion Week. That's going to be fun and fantastic, and getting to see everyone's outfits and getting to plan and prepare my own. I am definitely going to do some shopping while I'm here. I've got 3 confirmed outfits and I've got 5 days that I have to have outfits for. So shopping is needed. It's a need, not a want. What do I look for? Anything that's like a little bit left of center. It's like I want it to be on topic, but a little bit different. Like people either have to love it or hate it. you want to spark a little bit of debate. Like what I'm wearing to a night for CF tonight is an outfit I wore on MAFS when I was on there, and Twitter was absolutely insane. They were saying she looks like a doily, or she looks like one of those old, like the toilet roll dolls. And then other people are like, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. It's beautiful, you know? So, I mean, I personally love it. I love it. But I also love the debate around whether it was a good outfit or not. I think style is very personal to everyone. So, and you know what? Like, if people are talking about it, I want people criticizing my outfits, not my life choices. I mean, I think I always wanted to like look like the cool girl. And then I realized that that was kind of easy to do and pretty basic and pretty uniform across the board. Always kind of didn't really care too much what people thought of me because, you know, who's got time? If you're going to criticize the way that I look or something I put on my body to look a certain way or a style or a hobby that I have, that's fine. That's about likes and dislikes. So when you criticize my character, then I get upset. I feel very lucky to have experienced life in this way because I think it's so rare, and you just appreciate things more and in a completely different way to other people. Sometimes you hear people talk about life and things, and I don't want to ever invalidate someone's struggles, but sometimes it's like touch grass, you know, like when you've had that perspective for your whole life and someone's experiencing such a small snippet of it, it's like they have a newfound respect, but it's still such a glimpse at what it actually is. And so when people are like, wow, I'm so grateful that COVID's over or isolation's over, or so grateful I have my health now because I was sick for a couple of weeks, it's like, go touch grass. Respectfully. In the most respectful, wholesome way, go touch grass.